Greetings, YouTube. Every once in a while, I'll be having a really good discussion offline, as in not on my channel, usually on Line itself, as in the Line app. And I'll think this could be a really good discussion topic for a video. And so, since we are on the eve of the 2020 gifting event, an event that there was some real speculation wouldn't even happen because of all the fraud that happened last year, though we knew Kabam was going to make tweaks to the rules, and they have, though that has not stopped the fraudsters from still promoting their services. And once again, I cannot say this enough. I know I said it yesterday in a video, but just real quick. Don't share your account information with anybody, and don't exchange or agree to exchange anything with a stranger. Stranger danger, as the kids call it. If a stranger is going to attempt to gift you, have them gift you first. Don't say, okay, I'll wait for you, because the amount of times I've heard the horror stories of, I got gifted something, Prof, I need your help because I am out 300 units and it's all the units I have, blah, blah. It's going to happen again. These people are evil and they live to ruin kids' days. So, with that being said, as my computer continues to ask me for updates, we are in a really unique spot for those of you at the top of the progression list. I'm going to focus today for Cavalier and Thronebreaker players. We now have my favorite thing of 2020 in the game. That's right. You know it if you've been watching my channel, the Daily Thronebreaker Crystal. This thing is incredible because the worst thing that it can give you is either half of a tier 4 basic or half of a tier 4 class catalyst. That's amazing. There are no 4-star shards in this. There are no 4-star champions in general. It's all geared toward 5 and 6-star champs with the idea in mind that this is where players are. Obviously, 4 stars are not part of the discussion for really anyone after Uncollected, because you can't bring 4 stars into Act 6. I'm going to make a 2021 wish list video to help the improvement of the game as it continues to do all it can, and I appreciate Kabam for doing those improvement game changes that they continue to talk about and have already made this year. One of them is to just make the 4-star gate restrictions gone now in Act 6. It makes no sense why they're there. I think kudos to people if they want to bring their 4 stars in, because their health pools and their attack pools are so low given the attack and health of the defenders they're going to be facing. Even if they're boosted, they're going to be screwed. But of course, Kabam doesn't care about you using your 4 stars. They care about the synergies that come with them, and that's the main reason for the 4-star gates. But I say that to say, are we really about to start a gifting event where Kabam is expecting people to give 300 units for a greater gifting crystal that has worse items in it for the average drop rates than the daily free crystal for Thronebreakers? And at this point, Kang, or as I call him, Wang, Thanos, who should be the best person in the game, and yet somehow he's one of the worst. If those are your trophy champs, which it seems like they've just recycled it again this year, that's not very appealing. Even as 5 stars, that wouldn't be appealing to me. They would be used in the arena, maybe, and that's it. And so you got to increase the likelihood to get them as 6 stars, but even then, most 6 stars that you get from the 6-star basic crystal are going to be more useful and have more utility than them, even with some of the new synergies, say for Kang. So I think since we've gone progression-based, not just with things like compensation, but also, of course, Cyber Week and July 4th, spring cleaning events, it only makes sense to have the crystals be progression-based as well, especially the greater gifting crystals. And the pushback, and I've seen both sides of it, is, but Prof, they're the same price. Well, so are Grandmaster crystals versus Cavalier crystals, and nobody flips out about that. If Kabam wants to reward you with progression, then yeah, you should be able to purchase those once you have progressed. And if they really want to get Cavalier players back on their side, they'll make Cavalier and Thronebreaker the cutoff for this next progression. And there are going to be some uncollected people that say, What about me? You're now the 3rd progression level. You cannot view yourself as anything besides the middle of the MCOC class. And the middle class is still an important class, don't get me wrong, but you can't expect the same kind of rewards that players who become Cavalier and Thronebreakers, because the difference in what you would need to complete becoming Cavalier and jumping into Act 6 versus Act 5 and Uncollected is substantial. I know plenty of people who have the skills to become Uncollected with rank 4 4-stars. Of course, you can't bring in rank 5 4-stars into Act 6. So I think it's time. Now, the second part of this discussion is what should be included, because the other fear is, well, because people can literally buy endless amounts of these, that's why Kabam has held off on things like 6-star signature stones, and certainly the thing that everybody's most thirsty for, Tier 5 class catalyst fragments. I don't expect that to happen, though I do hope that the Tier 5 class catalyst fragment crystals and maybe even of a selector continue to become easier to get in the alliance milestones and the individual milestones for certain progression levels. But I do think you've got to put some 6-star 6-stone crystals at minimum in these things. You can't. It can't be enough to have that not be in it. And then on top of that, more generic 5-star 6-stones. And if people say, well, I don't know, you could just hoard a whole bunch. Well, we get a 6-stone now every time in the 22-hour events if you end up doing all of the milestones. And I love that. It's one of my favorite things about 2020. So, yeah, as we see the Level Up event getting ready to come into the game, it's a reminder that just by looking at the rewards, you reach the final progression level of 48,400 points, in this case in the Level Up. This is a free expected signature stone. And then, of course, you get a signature stone crystal with the Level 1 Revive at 19,360 points. So the answer is yes. I think it's time for a progression-based gifting system that cuts off people at Cavalier and maybe cuts off people again at Conqueror. But if you're going to think that people who are Cavalier and above, especially, are going to want to buy crystals for 300 units, the same price you can get a featured Cavalier that has a chance for a 5 or 6-star Nexus, which, by the way, I also would put a chance for a 5 or 6-star Nexus in the new Greater Gifting Crystals. Why not? It's the same price as the featured Cav. It makes perfect sense. And it doesn't involve Tier 5 class catalyst because you got to get some resource that's already in the game that's going to get people to spend money. Nexus crystals, signature stone crystals, signature stones if they're 5 stars, and maybe next year 6 stars. I don't expect it this year. And no 4-star shards whatsoever. That's my hope. Obviously, Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic Catalyst Fragments as well, but the difference in how you can get those now versus a year ago is substantial, particularly with the Glory Store improvements and even the Daily Crystal and Daily Objective Crystal improvements. So that is my rant. I would love to hear if you agree or disagree with me. Community, thank you for watching this video, and as always, thank you for supporting my Marvel Casino of Champions YouTube channel, because when you're opening Greater Gifting Crystals, you better believe it's a giant casino.